Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading to North Africa, to Morocco, and it's all about football. Well, it's kind of about football, but it's actually much bigger than that.
You hit the nail on the head there. It really is a much bigger story.
We're talking about their bid to co-host the 2030 World Cup. But what's fascinating is it's not just about hosting a tournament. It's about national pride, global ambitions. It's about a country that wants to transform itself, and they think this is their chance.
That's right. And to really understand this, we have to start with, well, just how crazy Morocco is for football. It's not just a sport there. It's like a national obsession.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that in La Razón, that Spanish news outlet. They said that Morocco was practically turned upside down with excitement for this 2030 bid.
That's not an exaggeration. I mean, think about it. Their run in the 2022 World Cup, reaching the semifinals, they were the first African and Arab team to ever do that.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was an absolute explosion of national pride, and that energy is definitely fueling this 2030 bid.
Okay, so we've got huge national pride, check. But this 2030 World Cup, it's not just any old tournament, right?
You're right. This one is unique. It's going to be the first World Cup ever to bridge Africa and Europe.
Wow, that is significant.
And for Morocco to be that link, that bridge, well, La Razón put it pretty strongly. They said it's like Morocco's entry into the Club of Great Nations.
Whoa, Club of Great Nations. That's a powerful statement. So are they basically saying that Morocco's trying to level up, not just in football, but globally?
That's the ambition. But of course, joining that club isn't easy. It takes a lot more than just hosting a great tournament. You need infrastructure, economic strength, global perception. It's a whole package deal.
Okay, so the stakes are pretty high. That's clear.
Yeah.
But how are they actually planning to pull this off? What's the roadmap look like?
Well, they're definitely putting their money where their mouth is. We're talking a €5 billion investment in infrastructure.
5 billion. Wow, that's serious commitment. But break it down for us. What exactly are they spending that money on?
Well, a major chunk is going towards a complete overhaul of their infrastructure, upgrading existing stadiums, building brand new ones.
What about that new stadium in Casablanca, the Hassan II Stadium? That's going to be absolutely massive, right?
That's right, 115,000 seats. It's going to be the biggest stadium in the entire world. Imagine the atmosphere there during a World Cup match.
Oh, just thinking about it gives me chills. But of course, it's not all about the stadiums, right? They need to make sure people can actually get around the country between matches, explore Morocco.
Exactly. It's about the entire experience. So they're also investing in a high-speed train line between Tangier and Marrakech.
Oh, wow. Is that going to be ready by 2030?
It's scheduled to be operational by 2027, even before the World Cup. And on top of that, they're also upgrading the Tangier Med port, which is a vital part of their economy.
Okay, so we're talking serious modernization here. But what does that actually mean for Morocco? It's more than just fancy new trains, right? What's the bigger picture?
It's a total transformation, really. They're using this World Cup as a catalyst to upgrade their entire infrastructure and make themselves more competitive on a global scale.
So it's not just about those few weeks of the tournament, it's about the long game. But how does tourism fit into all of this? I mean, Morocco is already a pretty popular tourist destination.
It is, but they're aiming for massive growth. In 2024, they had about 17.4 million tourists.
That's a lot.
Right. Well, by 2030, they want to more than double that number.
More than double. That's ambitious. But hold on a second. Can their infrastructure really handle that many visitors?
That's a good question, and it brings up a really crucial point. Is Morocco truly ready for this massive undertaking?
Yeah, because it's not just about building new things. It's about managing resources, logistics. There's a lot to consider.
Exactly. The next few years will be a real test to see if they can actually pull it off.
Okay, so we've got this incredible vision, this huge investment, but also some serious questions about whether they can actually deliver. This is getting interesting.
It definitely is. And to dig deeper, we need to understand how the people on the ground are feeling about this. What are everyday Moroccans saying about this World Cup bid?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's their country, it's their future. Let's find out what they have to say. So how are we going to get a sense of what everyday Moroccans are thinking and feeling about this World Cup bid? I mean, it's one thing to read the news reports, but it's another to hear it straight from the source.
Well, you're right. And luckily, we have a fantastic quote that really encapsulates the national mood. It comes from Adnan Benis, the CEO of Morocco World News.
Perfect. Someone who's really in tune with what's happening on the ground. So what did he say?
This is it, he said. The importance for Morocco of being a co-host of the World Cup is enormous. The whole country is aware that this is Morocco's time. We will welcome the world and we should be prepared.
This is Morocco's time.
Mm.
You can really hear that sense of pride and excitement in his words.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just excitement. It's a sense of destiny almost, like they're ready to step onto the global stage and show the world what they're capable of.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. But he also mentions being prepared. It's like they recognize that this is a huge undertaking and they're not taking it lightly.
Exactly. It's one thing to dream big, but it's another to actually deliver on that dream. And this quote really highlights the weight of expectation that's on their shoulders. It's not just about hosting a fun tournament. It's about proving to the world that they can handle an event of this magnitude and represent Africa and the Arab world on a global stage.
So it's about more than national pride. It's about representing entire regions, showing the world what they're made of. But okay, let's zoom out for a second. What could this actually mean for Morocco's future beyond the tournament itself?
Well, imagine this. You're a business owner in Marrakech, known for its beautiful architecture and its vibrant souks, right? Suddenly, you've got millions of tourists from every corner of the globe pouring into your city. What happens?
I'd say business is probably booming. So it's about leveraging that global spotlight, not just during the World Cup, but for years to come.
Right.
Bringing in new visitors and hopefully turning them into repeat customers.
You got it. And it goes beyond just tourism. Morocco is in a really strategic location, right at the crossroads of Europe and Africa. This World Cup could be their chance to solidify their role as a major hub for trade, for investment, for cultural exchange.
Okay, so they're thinking long-term, using this event as a springboard for broader economic growth.
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate here for a minute. We've talked about the potential benefits, but are there any downsides to all this?
Yeah.
And all these people, all this development, could it backfire?
That's a really important question, because the truth is, there are always two sides to every coin. Think about it, when you have rapid development, it can sometimes lead to unintended consequences.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, it could lead to displacement of local communities, maybe even damage to the environment.
And what about the risk of widening the gap between the rich and the poor? If all the benefits of this development don't reach everyone equally.
Exactly. And there's also the cultural impact to consider. How will they manage this huge influx of different cultures and values while still preserving their own unique traditions and identity?
Right. They can't just become another generic globalized destination. It's about finding that balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about sustainable development, careful planning, and a real commitment to social responsibility. It's not enough to just build fancy stadiums and attract tourists. They need to make sure the benefits are shared by all Moroccans and that their culture thrives amidst all this change.
So it's a tightrope walk. They're juggling a lot here. But it's also incredibly exciting to witness. I mean, here's this nation with such a rich history and culture, and now they're stepping onto the world stage with this bold vision for the future.
And that's what makes the story so captivating. It's about a country at a crossroads, making big bets, taking risks.
And we get to watch it all unfold.
Exactly. And as we watch this story unfold, it's important to remember that it's not just about Morocco.
What do you mean?
Well, their journey actually mirrors a lot of the challenges and opportunities that we're all facing in this increasingly interconnected world.
Okay, so by understanding what's happening in Morocco, we can actually gain insights into these larger global trends and how they're shaping the world around us.
Precisely. It's like looking through a window into the forces of globalization, development, cultural exchange, and seeing how they play out on a national level.
And how those forces impact the lives of everyday people. But, okay, let's bring it back to Morocco for a second. What are some specific things we should be looking for as this story continues to unfold in the coming years?
Well, there are a few key things to watch out for. First, how are they addressing those social and cultural challenges we talked about? Are they taking concrete steps to ensure that the benefits of this development are shared equitably? Are they protecting vulnerable communities? Are they making efforts to preserve their cultural heritage?
Right, because ultimately, a successful World Cup shouldn't just be about profits and shiny new stadiums. It should be about improving the lives of everyday Moroccans. What else?
Pay close attention to how they manage the environmental impact of this massive development. Are they prioritizing sustainability? Are they investing in renewable energy sources? Are they taking steps to mitigate the strain on resources?
Those are all crucial questions. And what about the economic impact in the long run? Will they be able to turn this moment into sustainable growth that benefits all sectors of society?
Exactly. It's about creating a lasting legacy that extends far beyond the tournament itself.
Okay, so we've got a lot to watch for in the coming years. It sounds like the next few years will be a crucial test for Morocco. Will they be able to navigate these challenges successfully? Will they create a truly transformative legacy? Or will they succumb to the pressures and the potential pitfalls that come with these sorts of ambitious endeavors?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And ultimately, I think the answer lies not just in their plans and their investments, but in the choices they make, the values they prioritize, and how they deal with these really complex social, cultural, and environmental issues that they're facing.
So we've talked about the complexities of Morocco's ambitions, the potential impact of this World Cup bid, and some of the key challenges they'll need to address. But now I want to shift gears a bit. Why should this story matter to our listeners, even those who might not be die-hard football fans?
That's a great question. Because at its core, this is about much more than just a sporting event. It's about a nation striving for transformation, grappling with the forces of globalization, development, and cultural change. And that's a story that resonates far beyond the football pitch.
It's like holding a mirror up to the world and seeing reflections of our own challenges and aspirations.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all connected, that the choices one nation makes can have ripple effects felt around the globe.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Morocco's World Cup dreams, we want to leave you with this thought. What lessons can we learn from Morocco's journey? How can their story help us to better understand the complexities of our own world and the choices we face as individuals and as a global community? So we've talked about how Morocco is trying to balance all of this, the ambition for progress, but also the need to protect their culture, their environment. Have we seen examples of this in other countries that have hosted these big mega events like the World Cup? Like, what can we learn from them?
That's a great point. Morocco's not alone in this, right? We've seen similar situations play out in places like Brazil, South Africa, even Qatar, where the World Cup definitely brought a wave of development. But it also sparked these really important conversations about social equity, the impact on the environment, and preserving their culture.
So it's like we're seeing this global experiment play out, right? But in different settings with different challenges. So what are some of the key takeaways? What can we learn from these past experiences?
Well, one thing that really stands out is that the most successful mega events, the ones that really have a lasting positive impact, they're the ones that prioritize sustainability, thinking about the long term, and also really involve the community.
Okay, so it's not just about building stuff for the event itself. It's about creating something that benefits people even after the party's over.
Exactly. It's about using this moment, this global spotlight, as a catalyst for positive change that lasts long after the closing ceremony. And there are some great examples of where this kind of long-term thinking has really paid off.
Well, like what?
Well, think about Barcelona after the 1992 Olympics. They really used those games as a springboard to revitalize their city. They revamped their waterfront, they improved public transportation, and it really boosted their international profile.
So they thought big and it worked.
It did. Today, Barcelona is this thriving global city, and a lot of their success can be traced back to the legacy of those Olympics. They use it as a launch pad.
That's really inspiring. So it's not just a pipe dream. It's actually possible to do this right, to use these events to create positive, lasting change. But how do we actually measure success in cases like this? Is it just about economic growth, or is there more to it?
I think you need to take a more holistic view. Yeah, economic benefits are definitely important, but you also have to think about things like social inclusion, making sure everyone benefits, and environmental sustainability, protecting the environment. And then, of course, preserving that unique cultural heritage. So a truly successful mega event, it leaves a positive legacy across all of these areas.
It's a lot to juggle, for sure. But you have to admit, it's pretty exciting to see a country like Morocco, with such a rich history and culture, taking on this challenge with so much passion and determination.
Absolutely. I mean, they're stepping onto the world stage with this bold vision for their future, and it's a story that's still being written. There are going to be twists and turns along the way.
Well, we'll be watching closely. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to bring it back to our listeners one last time. What can they take away from this? Why should they care about this story, even if they're not huge football fans?
At its core, this isn't just about a sporting event. Not really. It's about a nation that's striving to transform itself, a nation that's grappling with these really big forces: globalization, development, cultural change. It's a story that we can all relate to on some level.
It's about ambition.
Yes.
It's about dreams. And it's about the challenges and the opportunities that come with pursuing those dreams.
Exactly. And as we wrap up our deep dive into Morocco's World Cup dreams, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. What lessons can we learn from Morocco's journey? How can their story help us understand our own world a little bit better? The challenges we're all facing, the choices we have to make, those are questions worth pondering.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.